So I was loading up my car to go detail a car because I have a mobile detailing business, and the client just moved the appointment to tomorrow afternoon, which is tomorrow Saturday. I have a pretty open weekend, so I'm okay with it. I'm gonna unload my car back and get this workout in. So I wasted my afternoon. I went to 2 different stores to try to sell some sneakers that I just want to get rid of. I had like 10, 12 pairs with me. Nobody bought any. So that's why all you saw for my day, me getting some hot cocoa and a bagel at some random bookstore.
Doing? Good, yourself? Oh, right there.
Ah, thank you.
Is this where you bring all your first dates?
Good morning, everyone. It is 11:30, I think. It's 11:28 exactly. A couple weeks ago, my closet, the rack where everything's hanging and I had some stuff on top, fell off the wall. So everything in my closet is kind of just leaning up against the door. And so, on my next video, we're doing a closet remodeling. They're more aesthetic and practical, but now I'm just cleaning up a bunch of stuff that I'm just gonna take to the thrift store. A lot of things I need to get rid of that have just been taking up space that I need to get rid of. I'm just gonna give them off to the thrift store and they can figure it out from there. Whoever finds it, finds it. I'll show you a couple of things. This plant from Target's going. We'll have 2 little ones that I'm gonna get rid of. I found this random flashlight in there, and then this bowl from Ikea that's been sitting in one of my doors for the longest. And this chair's gotta go. It's messed up anyways, I sit, this thing just collapses. So just gotta do bye-bye. This is like the third or fourth time I remodeled my room, and now that I'm making content, I want it to feel even more like a studio. So it's a mess right now, so I won't show you everything, but when we start remodeling, you can see all the OG style, and I'll actually even include 3 other versions that it's been. I got into music production because of church and stuff, and so I have my keyboard, I have speakers, and a little bit of studio stuff, and I have a corner full of photography and film equipment. I'm trying my best to, when we design the closet, to make it efficient enough to store some of my equipment. I'm also getting rid of a lot of clothes that has just been sitting there. And again, I need the space, and this thing needs a little bit of life in here, so this is what my closet looks like right now. I'm more than likely getting rid of that bookcase just because I have too many books and journals. I am gonna put a different bookcase here and kind of decorate it and use it as a little bit of storage as far as my camera and audio equipment goes. And then some of my books that I use on the daily, like my study Bible. And I have this book here that I use very often. Anything that you want to talk about, any topics that you may question if it is in the Bible, you just look it up and it tells you where in the Bible talks about it. And pretty much everything's in here. So I'll keep things like this handy that I use all the time, and then everything else will kind of either be on a shelf or be put away in a more tidier spot. So. How's it going, boss? Yeah. Oh. Thrift store drop off done. Now let's go get some coffee. So I decided to come to Starbucks because there's only maybe 1 or 2 coffee shops in town where I live, and I'm a very honest person. I love the aesthetic, the setup. Some of the drinks are good. I don't like their coffee. Something about their espresso isn't there. And being a coffee fan, and at one point my brother had a coffee business that is in the process of figuring out what we're gonna do next. It's been closed for a little bit. I'm very knowledgeable in coffee and very particular, and when certain shops just don't have that coffee that hits you, I just don't go there for the coffee. So oftentimes, and I won't say the name out of respect for, the business. I don't want to be like, yo, don't go there, because it's a nice place to go. They got good food options. Their matcha's good, their chais are good. If you like their coffee, you like their coffee. It's roasted in-house. I just think that there's improvement somewhere in the roasting process. But that's not what we're here for. Came to Starbucks. I'm gonna grab some lunch. Probably a breakfast style meal, because they don't have like food here, but I do want some coffee. And for some Bible talk, because it's that time of the day. We're gonna do some Bible talk. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. The music's kind of loud in here for whatever reason. I don't know why Starbucks does that, but I'm gonna try to speak up a bit. I have my Rode mic here, so it's a little more closer to the camera and it's more direct. Got a little cortado with a pesto turkey sandwich. And I tried one of these. They're called petite vanilla scones, just to sweeten up and not eat I didn't want to eat a whole pastry. I'm trying my best to this year focus on my health a little bit more. The last year I've gained like 20-25 pounds, and I feel it. Ooh. So since I was talking all that crap about knowing coffee earlier, a cortado, all it is a mini latte. It's like a 6-ounce cup. Typically, a coffee shop will give you 10 or 12 ounce for hot lattes. This is just a 6-ounce little latte. If you want something that's strong, because I think it's only a single shot too. It's not a double shot like a regular latte. So it's like a half a serving of a regular latte. So if you want just that sweet, if you want just that simple delight of a latte, but you don't want to drink a whole 10, 12 ounce cup of coffee, cortado is definitely a way to go for just a midday coffee. I had a latte this morning that I made, so I don't need, that much caffeine. I'm not doing much today. So, Bible talk. Wow, guys, 4 weeks into January, and I've posted every week. It's things that God does, right? Hallelujah. So today for our Bible talk, we're going to be reflecting on Isaiah 41. I keep looking at the screen and not the lenses. I'm sorry, guys. All right. We are going to be reading in Isaiah 41, verse 11 through 13. We're going to reflect on what it says. We're going to read through it, and then we're going to reflect on what it says. So the word reads in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Behold, all who are incensed against you shall be put to shame and confounded. In another version, it says, those who rage against you will be put to shame. Those who strive against you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek those who contend with you, but you shall not find them. Those who war against you shall be as nothing at all. For I, the Lord, your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you. Right, and a couple things that stood out to me just reading it the first time. It was very specific how God said, I will hold you by the right hand, or hold your right hand. So in ancient times, or even traditionally, in a lot of cultures, and a lot of, whether it's sometimes even in sports, holding someone's right hand or lifting someone's right hand is showing a gesture of support, strength, victory. It shows authority, and oftentimes, the troops, they salute with their right hand. It's a sign of power, authority, a gesture that stands by its own. Your right hand is like. Granted, we kind of live in a right-handed world, but I think it's just the history behind holding the right hand or lifting the right hand. It just shows victory. It shows power. So I think that's something that stood out to me, just because God holding our right hand is just a sign of victory, and we'll get into that a little bit further. In this passage, right, we're reading out of Isaiah, and he was a prophet, and he prophesies to the people of Israel. So in this context of the text, we're going to relate to Israel. Israel is going to be us, right? Israel's God's selected people, the promise he made to Abraham. But we're going to relate to them because God is showing his character and his love for them, even in the time of where they're like disobeying God, right? Because a lot of things happen to Israel that the prophets speak about for books and books to go before we get into the New Testament. And so we're going to relate, or we're going to put ourselves in Israel's shoes, and we're going to listen to God's word for us today. The beginning of the verse 11 talks and brings the word incensed, right? All who are incensed against you. It's just a word for rage, or somebody who's angry towards you. And a lot of times it could be in an unfair manner, meaning, they found something to be angry at you for. It's not something that you particularly did. Anybody who rages against us unfairly or tries to go against God's people will be put to shame. And it's kind of a straightforward thing, and be put to shame and confounded. So right there, God is standing up for us. Right there, God is saying, people that go against you, my people, will be taken care of, in other words, right? So, and in verse 12, we'll jump right into verse 12. And it kind of reiterates it, saying those who strive against you. So those who are angry or raged at you, or those who go against you, shall be as nothing and shall perish. I brought down the verses as they were written and kind of made side notes to what is being told to the people of Israel. In verse 12, it says, seek those who contend you. It starts off like that. God is saying to the people of Israel that those who, verse 12 starts off saying, seek those who contend you. God is saying to the people of Israel that they may try to find those who do us wrong, but we won't find them because there'll be nothing. God is saying he will remove those who are trying to come against you. And again, this is something that we have to analyze as Christians, as Christ followers, of people building a relationship with God. God is not just going to defend us because he's going to defend us. There has to be that foundation of, and granted, there's plenty of times where people are separated from God's path, people who left church or who are in the world, and God, by grace, saves them from several or many situations. I've met people and have encountered people that God saved them from death multiple times before they even knew who God was, or God pulled them out of prison, not even when they didn't have a relationship with God, because God had a purpose with them. Remember, God's will and purpose will always be fulfilled. So when it's saying that we won't find those who do us wrong, or that he'll protect us in that manner, I'll protect you as long as I want to, because there's no conditions, right? God's love is unconditional. But there's times where we can't do wrong constantly, or live our life wrong on purpose or out of rebellion, and then expect God's grace and protection over us, because it's something that is is earned through accepting Jesus. So just remember that. Remember that we still have to do our part for God's protection and grace to be over us. And the second thing that stood out to me in verse 12 that was brought to my mind is that evil doesn't come from God. There's an enemy that seeks to hurt us, to destroy us, to separate us from God, to separate us from each other. There's evil surrounding us. And there are people that, because they are far from God, or they're weak to the spiritual realm, meaning they're not taking care of their spiritual health, they can be used by the enemy, by things in the atmosphere, by whether it's, demons or spirits that can infest us while we are away from God, because we are become spiritually vulnerable, and they will be used by the enemy to cause harm, whether it's within the church, whether it's, in our families, whether it's in somewhere that, we don't notice. It can come to us because of people being used by the enemy. So yeah, remember that evil does come from an evil place. Obviously, there's an enemy out there that goes against the church, goes against what God is trying to do in our lives, and he's going to use those who are away from God to cause more harm. Because when we're vulnerable to the spiritual realm, and there are things that our eyes are closed towards, because we're not seeing spiritually, we are, anybody is susceptible to being used by evil to cause further harm, right? And God is simply telling us, I am your God. I will deliver you. I will heal you. I will free you. I will break you away from those things that are trying to cause you harm or are causing you harm now, because I am your God. I am your Father. And he already won the battle. Proverbs 21:31, it reads, the horse is made ready for the battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. It's stated in his word that he hasn't and will never lose a battle. We're going to finish up with verse 13, how it speaks, declaration to the people of Israel. For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand, meaning it's present. He's doing it now. I hold, right? It is I who say to you, fear not. I am the one who helps you. Fear nothing. We don't carry the right to be scared. God, through the prophet, is telling his people, fear nothing. Don't be afraid of anything. Why? Because I'm the one that's standing with you. I'm the one that's already carrying you to victory. If we're sensing fear or we're afraid of what's next, that means there's two things happening that we need to address, right? One of them is going to be we're not trusting God. And the second one is going to be we're too far from God to feel safe. If God is telling us the victory is already mine, I already am holding your right hand into victory, because the things that are coming against you, I will defend you in, right? That means we're not believing that word, we're not living in that word, we're not trusting that God is really with us, and we're too far from God to feel safe, in the sense of we haven't done what we need to do in our spiritual life to keep us in that safe space. Because like I said earlier, this walk with God costs us. This walk with God demands sacrifice. We spoke about that when we went over Romans 12:1 and 2. This life that we live pursuing a relationship with God demands for us to sacrifice more of ourselves, and in that sacrifice we will find grace of God, we will find protection from God, we will find that God will always fight our battles, and we will see that firsthand. So don't forget that I need to do my part, we need to do our parts, so that for one, we trust God, two, we become closer to God, so we're not fearful of what's next, and that we are reminded every day that God is fighting our battles. He's taking care of us. And if you don't feel like he's taking care of you, that means you haven't surrendered yourself to God. And you need to, so that you can feel God's protection. God bless you all. I love you. Let's finish this video because I have plenty of things to do. Super quick, super chill outfit of the day for you people of God. Just my 1906Rs with some sweat shorts,